Had one of those moments where a single conversation just completely flips your perspective on how the world works? I'm talking about those raw, unfiltered truths that come from places you'd least expect.
Absolutely, Sam. Sometimes the most profound insights don't come from textbooks or lecture halls, but from the people, or in this case, the perspectives, living right on the edge of society.
It's exactly what we're diving into today. I recently came across this incredibly gritty, honest dialogue between a character named Bark and a stray dog, and honestly, Ariel, it's been haunting me.
I know the one you mean. It's a conversation that challenges our entire concept of cleaning up the streets and what it actually means to be a criminal. It's heavy stuff, but so necessary.
Oh, the setup is simple. Bark asks this stray dog why he doesn't like the police, and the dog's answer isn't what you'd expect. It's not just a blind dislike of authority, it's about a specific kind of injustice.
Right? He makes a distinction that most of us never even consider. He talks about the difference between someone who has an addiction but works for their money and those who steal to fund.
Exactly. The stray dog says he doesn't dislike all cops, but he can't stand the ones who bust a working addict. Someone who buys their drugs with honest money they earned and doesn't bother anyone.
It's a fascinating moral line to draw, isn't it? In the eyes of the law, they're both just drug users. But in the eyes of the street, one has integrity and the other is a predator.
Here's the kicker, Ariel. The dog explains that the police often let the worthless thieves go. They let the burglars and the thugs walk free just because they're willing to rat on the guy who actually worked.
And that's where the system truly breaks down. You're essentially punishing the person who is trying to maintain some level of societal contribution while rewarding the person who is actively harming the community.
Wait, let's unpack that for a second. So, the guy who works a 9 to 5, pays his bills, but happens to use drugs, goes to jail and loses his job because he won't snitch. He's got a code.
Exactly. He has a sense of honor, even in his struggle. Meanwhile, the person who's breaking into homes and stealing from neighbors gets a get-out-of-jail-free card because they have no loyalty.
It feels so backwards. Like the stray dog is pointing out that the police are actually keeping the streets dangerous by letting the real threats go just to make a quick bust on a working target.
It's a classic case of prioritizing statistics over safety. The officer gets to mark down a drug bust on their record, feeling proud of themselves, but the burglar is back out there looking for the next house to hit.
Part of the story really got to me. The image of the cop being so proud of himself, while the community is actually getting worse. It's like they're blind to the actual impact of their action.
Well, it's easier to catch the guy who is at work every day than it is to track down a professional thief who is constantly moving. It's low-hanging fruit that looks good on a report.
At what cost, Ariel? The stray dog says if he did what those clowns do to the community, he wouldn't be able to sleep at night. That's a powerful statement coming from a dog living on the street.
Is. It's about the weight of a conscience. The dog is suggesting that even in his lowly position, he has a clearer moral compass than the people supposedly in charge of justice.
I mean, think about the person who loses their job because of this. Now they're out on the street, they've lost their income, and they're even more likely to turn to crime. The system is literally creating the problem it claims to solve.
Vicious cycle, Sam. When you remove the honest addicts, and I know that sounds like a contradiction, you're removing the people who are still tethered to reality and responsibility.
Right. If you take away their livelihood, you're just pushing them into the arms of the rats and the thieves. You're destroying the last bit of stability they had.
And the rat gets picked up again for burglary, tells on someone else, and the cycle repeats. The thief is never actually stopped. They're just recycled through the system as a source of information.
Makes me wonder about our own lives, Ariel. How often do we judge people based on a label like addict, without looking at their actual character or how they treat their neighbors?
It's the growth point here, isn't it? We tend to see things in black and white, law-abiding versus criminal. But the stray dog is showing us the gray area where true integrity lives.
It's a lesson in empathy. We need to look deeper. If someone is struggling but they aren't hurting anyone else, why are they the primary target while predators roam free?
Also about the incentive structures we create. If we reward betrayal and punish quiet struggle, we shouldn't be surprised when our communities feel less safe and more divided.
Keep thinking about that line. I wouldn't be able to sleep at night. It's a challenge to all of us to look at our own work and our own impact on the people around us.
Exactly. Are we doing things that look good on the surface, but actually cause harm underneath? Are we taking the easy path instead of the right path?
So how do we apply this? If I'm a manager or a teacher or just a friend, how do I avoid being the clown in this scenario who is making things worse while feeling proud?
I think it starts with looking at the fruit of your actions. Don't just look at the immediate win. Look at the long-term health of the environment you're creating. Is it actually safer? Is it actually better?
Like, if I'm disciplining someone, but I'm doing it in a way that destroys their ability to improve, I'm not actually helping. I'm just checking a box.
Precisely. If your justice doesn't lead to a better outcome for the community, it's just ego. It's just you trying to feel superior or in control.
It's a tough pill to swallow, Ariel. It requires a lot of self-honesty. Like, am I actually fixing the leak, or am I just shouting at the water?
And it requires us to listen to the stray dogs of our world. The people who see the gaps in the system because they live in them every single day.
This reminds me of how we often treat mental health or even just mistakes in the workplace. We punish the person who is honest about their struggle, while the sharks who hide their tracks get promoted.
That's a perfect analogy, Sam. The rat in the office is the one who throws everyone under the bus to get ahead, while the person doing the actual work gets burned out or let go.
Wow, so this street wisdom really does scale up to every part of life. It's about valuing loyalty and contribution over convenience and manipulation.
It really does. And it asks us to have the courage to stand up for the people who are doing it right, even if they aren't perfect by some arbitrary standard.
So for everyone listening today, maybe the challenge is to look at someone you've been judging. Is their habit or their flaw actually hurting anyone? Or are they just an easy target for your frustration?
The flip side, are you letting the thieves, the people who actually drain your energy or harm your community, get a pass just because they tell you what you want to hear?
That's the real danger, right? Letting the people who rat on others dictate our reality. It makes the world a much more dangerous place for everyone else.
It really does. True leadership and true community require us to protect the people who are trying, even when they're struggling. That's how you actually clean up a street or an office.
Love that. It's about building a foundation of trust rather than a culture of informants. It's about recognizing the dignity in the struggle.
Exactly, Ariel. And it's about having the integrity to say, I won't participate in a system that rewards the predator and punishes the worker.
Let's talk about the sleep at night part again. Why do you think that's the ultimate test? Like, why is that the dog's final word on the matter?
Because at the end of the day, Sam, your conscience is the only thing you can't walk away from. You can lie to your boss, your neighbors, and the public, but you can't lie to yourself when the lights go out.
So true. If you know you've made the world a little worse, just to make yourself look a little better, that's a heavy burden to carry, whether you admit it or not.
The stray dog is saying that even though he has nothing, no home, no steady food, he has his peace. He hasn't sold out his community for a pat on the head.
Strange kind of wealth in that, isn't there? A wealth of character. It's something that the proud cop in the story might actually be missing.
It's the highest form of wealth. Integrity is the only thing the system can't take away from you unless you choose to give it up.
Okay, so let's get practical. If someone is listening and they feel like they're caught in one of these backward systems, maybe a toxic job or a difficult neighborhood, what's the first step?
First step is to stop playing the game by their rules. Don't be the rat. Don't sacrifice your peers just to stay in the good graces of a broken system.
It takes a lot of guts, Ariel. You might lose your job, just like the guy in the story who went to jail. It's a huge risk.
It is a risk, but the alternative is losing your soul. The alternative is becoming one of the people who makes the world a more dangerous place. You have to decide what you value more.
I think that's the try this moment for today. Take a look at your loyalties. Are they based on fear and convenience, or are they based on what's actually right?
Maybe find ways to support the working addicts in your life, the people who are struggling but trying. Give them a reason to keep trying rather than a reason to give up.
Exactly. A little bit of support can be the difference between someone staying productive and someone falling into that cycle of theft and betrayal.
We often forget how much power we have to influence the people around us. If we create a culture that values honesty over snitching, the rats lose their power.
It's like we're reclaiming the streets, one act of integrity at a time. It's not about the big busts, it's about the small, consistent choices to be a person of character.
I love how this stray dog's perspective just cuts through all the noise. It's so simple, yet so profound. Protect the workers, stop the thieves, and don't sell out your neighbors.
Makes you rethink who the clowns are in our society. Sometimes they're the ones wearing the uniforms or the suits, thinking they're the hero.
Sometimes the real heroes are the ones just trying to get through the day without hurting anyone, despite the weight they're carrying.
This has been such an eye-opener, Sam. I'm going to be thinking about this for a long time. It's a total shift in how I look at safety and justice.
Too, Ariel. It's a reminder that we should never be too proud of our successes if those successes come at the expense of our community's actual well-being.
So here's our challenge to you today. Think about one area where you might be prioritizing the easy win over the right outcome, How can you shift that?
You be the person who stands up for someone who is struggling but honest? Can you be the one who refuses to reward a rat mentality?
It's not easy, but it's how we build a world we can actually live in, and a world where we can all sleep at night. Thanks for joining us on this journey into the gray areas of life.
Stay curious, stay empathetic, and most importantly, stay honest with yourself. We'll talk to you next time.
Before we go, I just want to say that Stray Dog really had it right. If we all lived with that level of street-level integrity, imagine the change we'd see.
Would be a different world, Sam. A much safer, much more human world. Let's try to bring a little bit of that into our day today.
Absolutely. Thanks for the deep dive, Ariel. This was exactly what I needed to hear today.
Anytime, Sam. It's always good to look at the world through a different set of eyes, even if they're looking up from the pavement.
Exactly. Catch you all on the next episode. Take care of each other out there.
Take care, everyone. And remember, integrity isn't about being perfect. It's about being real.
That's a wrap. See you next time.